So this is how I would normally lube up, apply some lubricant to my flanges. Is I will get a piece of paper towel. You're gonna have your oily piece of paper towel and then your flange, and you're just going to coat that like that. And what happens is this is gonna allow your boobs to glide in and out of this perfectly and literally just pull all the milk out without irritating your nipples. Trust me, dry pumping is the worst thing that you can do to your nipples.
Take me on a trip, I'd like to go someday. Take me up to Jupiter and outer space.
Good morning, you guys. What's up and welcome back to my channel. And today I want to talk to you guys all about breast pumping essentials. So today's video is going to be a little bit different because of course I'm in a new place. We brought a house, yay! And this is pretty much one of the many reasons why I haven't been able to sit in front of the camera and just talk to you guys and update you guys on my exclusively pumping journey, as well as other things I guess you can say. But today's video is going to be on exclusive pumping essentials. And these are the items and things I think you truly need to actually get started and be successful in this journey. It is a journey where it is going to take time. It's a journey where you need to be extremely dedicated and you need to be consistent. It is really, really important. In order to be successful in this, I think you need to have all three of those components to really become truly a successful pumper in this. A lot of times mom gets started and they feel that maybe they are doing something wrong, and a lot of times they are doing something wrong. So today I just want to talk to you guys about a couple of things that I've learned from, let's say, from my first pregnancy to my third pregnancy. So just to give you a little back history on how I became an exclusive pumper and why I feel like I'm knowledgeable in this, is the fact that when I first became a mother, back in 2015, I started to try to do the breastfeeding thing, but my son was a NICU baby, so I used the medical grade pump in the hospital while he was in NICU, and I just pretty much started to feed him breast milk, but through a bottle. So I didn't know exclusively pumping was a thing back then. I had no clue until my third pregnancy, which is crazy. And so yeah, I gave him breast milk when I pumped breast milk, and then I gave him some formula because when I went home, I didn't have the medical grade pump. Let me not say that. I had it for a couple of months or so, and then I switched to my insurance grade pump. And that's when the issue started to come into play because, excuse me, I am a little hoarse, but that's when the issue started to come into play, is because of the fact that the insurance grade pump wasn't strong enough. So by the time I actually switched over to going back to the medical grade pump, my supply had already drastically decreased. And at one point, I think I was probably producing 5 to 10 ounces, and my kid was on formula. So he was pretty much a breast milk baby and a formula baby. He got both, and it was perfectly fine. I mean, he was perfectly healthy and just fine. And then my second pregnancy, I knew I wanted to breastfeed. I was like, I got this. This is what I want to do. I'm going to go hard. I'm going to be dedicated. I am literally going to give it my all. And unfortunately, my son could not accept my breast milk. He was allergic to my breast milk. Okay, it's not that it's me per se, but he is extremely, even to this day, lactose intolerant. And what happens is when you breastfeed, which is something I learned with my first child too, you cannot consume a lot of cow milk. Some babies can handle it, some babies can't, but my kids, my two oldest ones for sure, especially the second one, cannot handle it. It didn't matter if I used a little bit of butter in food. It didn't matter if I had a little bit of milk in my tea or in my coffee, or if I had a slice of cheese on a sandwich. That affected them so badly that you can hear them just and be uncomfortable, and it was really heartbreaking to hear it and see it. And so I made the choice to take my second one off of breast milk completely, and we put him on formula. He ended up having to go on soy formula because he was that allergic to milk protein. I ended up finding out that I was pregnant unexpectedly with our third child, and Bailey is our surprise baby, and she literally was filled with surprises from the moment we found out we was pregnant with her to the moment we found out her gender. And if you guys want to see all that, I'll link it down below. But yeah, so that's pretty much how it all went down. So for Bailey, I knew I wanted to breastfeed, but again, there was always some type of adversity that came my way through this journey, and trying to get her to latch was my biggest issue. She would not latch. Unfortunately, she has a little tongue tie as well as a lip tie. We couldn't have snipped it, but by the time I had talked to her pediatricians to have it snipped and all that, I had already decided that I was gonna do this exclusively pumping journey. Okay, it wasn't something I initially had planned, but I've already had purchased the things that I needed to get started. I knew that I wanted a medical grade pump this time around, so that was already purchased and done. So when everything was said and done, I was already on this journey, not realizing that this was already a movement going on, and I just happened to learn from experience what I needed and then what things I needed, as well as what I needed to do to be successful in this journey. And I'm not gonna lie, like I said, I went from somebody who was barely producing anything, making the bare minimum, to barely making anything the first time around. Second time around, I feel like it wasn't necessarily ripped for me, but because I was producing the milk, let me just say that. I was producing the milk, but I couldn't give it to my child, and I definitely couldn't get it to anybody else's child, because I did have a blood transfusion for my second pregnancy, or delivery, whatever you want to say. But yeah, and so for the third one, I knew for a fact that this is something that I had to make work, because this is what I wanted for my child. I wanted her to be able to have my milk, the milk that I make for her, and I've been blessed enough to do that. But today's video, that was the backstory. Today's video is, again, about the essentials that you need to get started. So, like I mentioned before, the first thing you want is to have a medical grade pump. This is gonna make a world of difference. Okay, let me say this. All pumps are not made the same. It's literally the best / closest thing that you can get to coming towards an actual baby latched onto you. Medical grade pumps suck differently. They have more pressure. They're literally trying to drain your breast out, okay? When you get regular pumps, they're not really meant for moms who want to exclusively pump. No pump really is really meant for any mom who wants to exclusively pump. But when you get a pump, or if you want a pump that is going to drain you and suck you like a baby, I highly recommend you getting that particular pump, especially if you are somebody who wants to create a stash. There's a lot of people who want to create a stash. My stash just happened by accident. It was something because of the fact that I just produced a lot, and therefore it was able to help other mothers in my local area to feed their own babies. So that is really important. Definitely get a medical grade pump. I think I'm gonna do a separate video on that, because I want to go through and break down each pump and why a particular pump will work better for you, and why I would recommend getting this particular pump. If you want a medical grade pump, there are medical grade pumps that are covered by your insurance. So yes, let's definitely stay tuned for that. The next thing you're gonna need is to have multiple connections. I have roughly 6 connections sitting over there drying off in the drying area. 6 connections. I don't even know how many pumping bottles I have. It's a lot. And I have also bottles I consider feeding bottles, because I need my pumping bottles, obviously, that I dump into these feeding bottles and I store into the refrigerator for Bailey. Now I switched different bottles. I went from Nano Baby back to my Tommy Tippy, because I've been having crazy issues with Nano Baby. Hey guys, what's up? And just really quickly, I had to just insert this small little clip. I realized when I was going back to edit the video that I didn't do a thorough good job of explaining why you need multiple connections. Multiple connections are gonna work for you really more so in the beginning of your pumping journey, is because you're gonna do a lot of pumping. Trust me, a lot. And if you have 1 or 2 connections, it's going to be hectic having to constantly wash them back to back to back when you are doing roughly 8 pumpings per day. So keep in mind to have multiple connections, because it's going to make it really more easier for you. And think about it, when you have those connections already ready, set to go, you are going to be more likely and more willing to be on this journey and continue this journey. Trust me, in the beginning when I was washing and my little hands were getting all dry and brittle, I felt like I didn't want to do this anymore. But once I actually invested in more connections, I was so thrilled and more willing to actually get up and connect and pump. So just keep in mind, it's going to make your life a lot easier to have multiple connections. And that is what I just wanted to say. Okay, back to the video. Bye. Yeah, I have 6 connections, tons of pumping bottles, little ones, big ones. And then I have the dumping bottles, the feeding bottles. I call them feeding bottles. And then the next thing you're gonna want is a pumping bra. Let me go get one of mine. So like I mentioned, you definitely want a pumping bra. This is gonna make things really easy, not easy. This is gonna make your life a little bit easier though, to be honest with you. But it's gonna make your life a little bit easier, especially in the morning time. It is going to allow you to be hands-free when you're sitting down pumping. You can get on your phone, you can write, take notes, do whatever you need to do, watch a little bit of TV. It's just gonna give you more control. And honestly, from experience, I feel that whenever I use my pumping bra versus me actually having to hold it, I have less leakage. So what happens is you make sure you get the right size. You want to get a pumping bra that is going to be snug. Okay, so you can try to do this with a sports bra. I think I talked about this before. I've done this when I had my first kid, and the sports bra, literally after, I don't know, probably 2 weeks or so, it literally starts to spread wide open the hole, and it doesn't really hold the flange correctly to your breast. So you can try that way, but in long terms, or in the long run, I should say, it's not gonna work out very well. So when you get a pumping bra, I just wanna show you guys how it looks. So this is the new styles. They have little hooks at the top, like a, for you to latch on like that. And then I have the older ones, they're in my closet. I don't really use them because I'm smaller, which is weird. I'm smaller in this area, but you want it to be snug. That's extremely important. You want it to be snug, and then you're gonna just zip it on up. And it has the 2 holes where the flanges will come through. The way they have sewn these are very thick, so they don't tear or anything like that. They are very durable, and it allows you to be able to put your flanges on and you pump with ease. This is something that I highly recommend you getting. Get 2 of them, because when you have to wash one, you can have one in use and just switch them out however you need to switch them. But for the most part, they pretty much stay clean. This one has like a little bit of lint and like a deodorant stain I've seen. But for the most part, this is clean. This is still smell like laundry stuff. But yeah, get 2 of these. I normally just have this hanging in the dining area because that's where I like to pump at. So highly recommend you getting 2 of these. They are pricey, I'm not gonna lie. All of this stuff is pricey, but I feel like in the long run, you will spend more on formula than you will on all of this stuff. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think formula can run you, what, 3 grand per year? When everything is all said and done, I probably, okay, it's $700. $700 or so, maybe a little bit more, but that's just, it is what it is. I mean, you can also use the stuff if you plan on having more kids in the future. You don't have to rebuy this stuff, so you can also reuse it. So just keep that in mind when you think about it. But overall, it is cheaper to do the exclusively pumping versus formula. I couldn't think for a second. Okay, so we talked about medical grade pump, we talked about the multiple connections, and we talked about pumping bra. We also talked about multiple bottles, which is also on my list. So the next thing that you're gonna want for the pumping journey is you need to have a pump lubricant, okay? So a pumping lubricant, there are companies who provide like pumps and things that you can apply to your flange, but one thing that I learned from a pumping group that I was in was just use regular food grade coconut oil, okay? So let me show you guys what I mean when I talk about that. So this is how I would normally lube up, apply some lubricant to my flanges, is I will get a piece of paper towel, okay, clean paper towel. I will use the inside of it because I'm just OCD about it. Okay, have it like this. I will make it into a triangle. You're gonna do this with clean hands, okay? Clean hands. And then I will go in, as you can see, I am using food grade, just regular. Can you guys see that? This is food grade coconut oil, organic, got this from Walmart. probably less than $10. This is 14 ounces. This is gonna last you a while. I think these last me, I wanna say about 2 months or so. This is my second jar and I'm about to hit 6 months and I still have enough for like another probably month and a half or so. So what I do is, like I said, fold the towel up just to get like a triangle like this. And then I'm just going to get just a little bit. Usually I just wipe around the rim because you don't want like a lot of this. And this is not going to affect your milk. So like I said, you're going to have your oily piece of paper towel and then your flange, and you're just going to coat that like that. And what happens is this is going to allow your boobs to glide in and out of this perfectly and literally just pull all the milk out without irritating your nipples. So a very light coat on this will get the job done. And this, I wanted to show you guys. You see how I took that extra oil and I just placed it right here? That's all you want to do. You want to just scrape off what you don't need on the edge, because like I said, you need very little of this to get the job done. And over time, trust me, dry pumping is the worst thing that you can do to your nipples. Of course, you're gonna need, which is the next thing I'm gonna talk about, is nipple cream. But you're gonna need a lubricant to help glide that breast in, okay? When you think of nipple cream is a little bit thicker than something like this. You just need a little bit of this to get the job done. The nipple cream is gonna be more there to protect your boob. So I guess, Bill, that's a great segue, I guess you could say, of the next thing you're definitely gonna need for this whole pumping essential thing, just like any breastfeeding mom, is to have nipple cream, because you're gonna have dry, cracked nipples. If you don't, trust me, I thought I didn't need nipple cream probably during my first pregnancy. I think that's where I really got a surprise, was like, oh yeah, I don't need that. And it was like, oh no, you should get some nipple cream. And then when I didn't get the nipple cream, I literally was like, oh, it hurts so bad. So nipple cream, really inexpensive. Go to Walmart, Target. Back in the day it was Baby RS, but you can go to any baby store, even possibly Walgreens and CVS may carry some, but get you some, put them on your nipples after each pumping session, not before, after. It's kind of like how you moisturize your nipples back up, because what happens if you do it before, it's going to get all cakey in the inside of this, and it's just gross and a terrible way to have to clean it out. It's just a pain. So make sure you moisturize them afterwards, and then your next session you'll be fine. And then the last thing that I highly recommend you doing is getting storage bags. Like I said, if you're gonna be somebody who, more than likely, because I'm giving you all this information because I'm trying to make everybody an oversupplier. It's better to be a oversupplier than an undersupplier, because in the long run, you'll be able to have a backup stash if anything occurs. You want to be able to start off really, really good and store as much milk as you can, because our hormones are always fluctuating, especially after this whole process of giving birth. You don't have to have a huge stockpile if you want to have one, but I literally have, I wanna say, 1,300 ounces or so sitting in my freezer, and my freezer is complete. My little deep freezer is completely just packed, and it hasn't been open in like almost 2 months, because I don't plan on putting anything else in there. It's just there for if my supply decreases. But like I said, these are the things that you need to be successful in this journey. Have a good regimen from the get-go. Be consistent from the get-go. You will do just fine. Do not stress over this. This is something that if it does not work out, it is okay to put your baby on formula, okay? I'm one of those moms who know this. It's okay to put your baby on formula. They will live. You might be a little heartbroken, but if you plan on having more kids, awesome. Just try again next time. That's what I did. I mean, you're not gonna always be successful, but if you have the tools, I feel like if you have the tools right now to be successful, take what I'm giving you and apply it to your routine. This is only, what, 7 items that I'm telling you that you need to get. One of the biggest items that you need is to make sure you get that medical grade pump more than anything. That is going to truly change your life. And it's a different, like I said, pumps are on different levels. All pumps are not created equally. So that is something you really need to take in consideration when you look into the type of pump that you want. But that is it for today's video, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Do not forget to rate, subscribe, and comment, and stay tuned. Oh, hit the bell. Hit the bell so you don't miss another video. How are you gonna know when I post another video? Definitely hit the bell, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Baby,